All right. Thank you for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, including iTunes and Spotify. You can say whatever you want to say. Just make sure it's a 5-star review. That'll help other people find us when they search Ole Miss podcast on the Google machine. If you do that, it would help us out. Remember, 5-star review. Say whatever you want to say. I am here for our weekly segment with Tom Vanderford. Tom will be with us for the postcast after Ole Miss and LSU. And I've been pretty riled up about this game all week. At 6:30, believe it or not, here whenever we record this in 30 minutes, I'm going on the radio in Louisiana, and I'm prepared to be that cocky Ole Miss guy because I just think that's fun. Anyway, how are you doing, Tom?
Doing great, man. Doing great. LSU hate week. You got to love it.
Yeah, exactly. This is the game, like I told Kara, I told everybody, this is the game that Ole Miss fans most want to win. It's not the game they least want to lose, but it is the game they most want to win. And it's just a weird situation. I talked to Kara about this. This is one of the few times in recent years that Ole Miss is probably going to walk into that stadium with the talent advantage. And that is a bizarre thing for me. But Ole Miss 7-0. They've never been 8-0 in my lifetime. Never been 8-0 in your lifetime.
Nope.
This is a huge, absolutely huge game.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like I said, I'm 56 years old. I've never seen Ole Miss go 8-0 in football. I think that I will get to see that Saturday. A lot of folks might not agree with me. I see Vegas doesn't agree with me, and that's fine. But we have a pick your poison on offense. We've proved that. You want to try to stop the run, we'll throw for 400. You want to try and stop the pass, we'll run for 400. Now, I know that they've got the best athletes we've probably faced so far on defense, but they're not that much better than Auburn. A lot of people may have forget that they beat Auburn 17-14. It was a slugfest. Now, one thing that does concern me is after watching the Florida game, their quarterback looks like he's become more acclimated in their offense. So I just have faith in our staff that they are going to put in the fits for LSU, and we're going to win. I had a friend of mine bring this up, and I haven't went back and looked at the Auburn game close, but he rewatched it, and he told me, he said almost the entire game, Auburn had 7 or 8 in the box, and we ran over them constantly. He said, I think, and this is my buddy, he said, I think Kiffin was bound and determined to prove to LSU and the rest that, yeah, we can run the ball. So I think Kiffin is kind of, and I may be wrong, I may be way off base, but I think he has orchestrated this entire season.
Okay, go on.
I don't think he's shown a lot. I don't think he's shown everything we've got. I think we may see, like you said, we may see some two-back offense. There's no telling what we're going to see. I do believe that we've done just enough to win all year long, and that he may be saving. So I think he's saving some special stuff for Alabama, but he may be saving it for LSU. Who knows? And I may be way off base. But I just have I usually have a horrible feeling about the LSU game, especially if it's in Baton Rouge. I just, I'm like, oh, yeah, blah, 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 blah. I've got a really good feeling about it.
Yeah, I feel relatively good. And when you see people all the time, and this is one thing that I think people need to take a cue from. If you see an LSU person making a prediction about the game, they're obviously going to pick their team to win, but their team is like predicted 31-28, 35-31, something very close that they think they can just get by. Whenever you see Ole Miss people pick this game, Ole Miss by 21 points, Ole Miss by 14 points. Always more than one score. And I think that tells you what both fan bases have going into this football game. And that's the way they're going to approach this. Now, at the end, this is all on the players. The players can execute. Ole Miss has the players to win this game. Ole Miss has the players to blow this game out if they wanted to. But
I agree.
They still have to do it.
Right.
And there's certain things like Jaxson Dart playing in Tiger Stadium. We saw Bo Wallace as a senior lose himself in 2014. It is possible that Jaxson Dart has a similar type throw or a couple of throws like that. I don't think Jamie Howard is going to happen, but there's a chance that he could get one away. I think LSU is going to work to try and stop the run. And we talked about in the first segment today why Zach Evans and Quinshon Judkins and LSU is going to give everything they can to slow down that run game. But they are not the reason we're going to win this game. Whenever they do that, they're going to have to expose their back end, and those shot plays are going to be there. This could be a big game for Jonathan Mingo or Jordan Watkins or Malik Heath. Those guys have a real chance to make hay in this game, and that is because they are going to be so worried about Quinshon Judkins and Zach Evans. And if those guys can run, if Ole Miss puts 220 yards on the board against LSU, this thing's over at halftime.
Oh, yeah, they win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they win the game. Like I said, the only concern that I really have is our defense has got to step up. We've got to see that run defense that we saw for the most part against Kentucky against LSU. Mm-hmm. We don't need to see the Auburn run defense. That one's in the rearview mirror, but that concerns me. Our secondary doesn't concern me. Now listen, their quarterback has some awesome weapons, and he used them against Florida. He finally got DeBute and the other guys, Neighbors and all of them. But I think our secondary, I don't think I know our secondary is much better and much deeper than Florida's.
Oh, yeah. Florida's not good.
Right. My hope is that we capitalize on stopping the run. And we also, another thing, we got to have and our defense is built for it. We got to have a spy on their quarterback. A lot of times he just, if he doesn't see his reads, he just takes off. He's a fast kid, he's a fast kid. But we have the type of defense where we can stop those outside runs, for a negligible gain at least. So I just feel real optimistic about tomorrow. I think it's a 2:30 game, so the fans won't be good and liquored up yet, because it's rough playing at LSU at night. Mm-hmm. But I have a good feeling. I have a good feeling about it.
One thing that I say, and I don't think I've done this key at all. So if you watched all the shows during the week and you get to this last segment on Friday, I will drop this nugget for you as well. A key to this Ole Miss LSU game is LSU special teams. Now, you don't want to punt, you don't want to kick off, but you do want to pressure them. A blocked kick, a punt return, a kickoff return. All of that is something to watch for, because if you can take away their special teams, LSU is giving you one out of the three team-wide positions that you can win the game. You only need really two of them to win, and LSU is giving you one. Do not let them into the game on special teams. You need to pressure them. You need to find a way to be creative to wreak a little bit of havoc. And if you're punting the ball, hang time. If you're kicking off, hang time. Make the move. They're worried about muffs. They're thinking about it. Figure out a way to make them stress when punting or kicking off the ball. I
completely agree. Mm-hmm. Their punt returner, Beck, if he's the punt returner tomorrow, he kind of reminds me of Corvick Neat back in the day. He muffs more than he catches. Mm-hmm. So, I think that, we need, of course, to win the turnover battle. I think Jaxson Dart is getting more efficient every game. And, there's something that we haven't seen a lot that I expect to see if LSU starts, trying to rush 4 or 5 people, blitz, whatever. We've got 2 really good running backs, and I haven't seen a lot of screen passes this year. And I think that's something. I mean, we've had swing passes, and I love that pass against Auburn where he did the Tebow and then hit Zach Evans. I love that. I thought that was awesome. But that little stuff like that, little wrinkles, is what I expect to see out of our offense. And I was watching the post game with Chris Partridge, and he was apologizing to the defense for not having them prepared enough, not having a good enough game plan, so on and so forth. And he said, you have my word that we'll be prepared for LSU. And I believe the guy. I really do. I believe the guy.
Yeah, people need to realize against LSU last year, the Ole Miss defense kind of dominated that game.
Mm-hmm. We did.
It's more or less the same offense. Now, Brian Kelly, what they're doing offensively and what LSU did last year with Ed Orgeron, it was kind of the same stuff. The zone running scheme, all of that. So, Ole Miss defensively is in a much better position than they were against Tank Bigsby and Auburn. Tank Bigsby for 3 years has owned Ole Miss. He's been a problem no matter what defense we ran, no matter what happened. I think Tank Bigsby has 6 touchdowns against Ole Miss in the last 3 years. So
I believe it.
Yeah, everybody just needs to relax a little bit and realize that there's 3 teams, Kentucky, Auburn, and Arkansas, that have the ability to play murder ball and can make our defense hurt. Those are the 3 teams that can play that style that makes this defense hurt. Alabama's going to play us straight up. Mississippi State doesn't have a tight end. And Texas A&M, they don't really have a quarterback or a back that's over 200 pounds, really. A-Chain's a really good player.
He is, but he's small.
He's not that dude. Arm tackles are going to be able to work on those guys. There's no Tank Bigsby lining up against that team.
Right, exactly.
And other than KJ Jefferson and Rocket Sanders, they can't really do it. So understand that. John Emery and Josh Williams are going to try. Those are powerful runners, but they're not Tank Bigsby. You don't have to worry about seeing that guy. So do not fret about this run defense overall. And besides, Ole Miss gave up 301. Auburn gave up 448. So
exactly,
it's still, even if they decide to play that way, they still have to outscore us. And Auburn never had the ball in the second half with a chance to tie the game.
Exactly.
So
I think we're going to see a lot of that tomorrow. I think so.
All right.
I think that, I can't wait. I think we are going to pull away in the second half. I really do.
All right, give me a score prediction.
Well, it's closer than you would think by the way we were talking, but I'm thinking 31-24 Ole Miss.
All right, I went with 27-17. That's the same thing I told Tara. 27-17 is what I'm thinking is my official prediction for this. Anyway, get more on the SEC by making Locked On SEC your second listen. Every day, host Chris Gordy and the local experts of Locked On take you across the SEC in 30 minutes or less. Make Locked On SEC your second listen. Tom, stick around after we go off the air and I run the end screen. There's a question I want to ask you, but thank you very much for coming on the show today. And, man, I'm just fired up. It's Magnolia Bowl week.
That's right.
All right.
Hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy.